I've been given this kind of image to put on a website for a client, but of course, things are out of proportion and the quality is all pixelated. So what I've done is replicated it like this, and these are all vectors here, and I want to show you how to create arrows and other shapes also. It's just not with arrow tips. You could change the thing from an arrow to a circle, and there's different options that you can use, but the principle behind it is to create it that it's kind of in a circle like this, to duplicate that. Okay, and then there's another thing that I just wanted to share about the cursor that keeps flipping to a crosshair when you're using vector stuff. Maybe I shall show that first here. This was a frustration. This has got nothing to do with these circles now, but if I'm working with a vector art and if I click onto the vector tool here, did I just say vector tool or node tool? Okay, so you can press the letter A or just click over here. Now, if you've gone onto the node tool and you hover over here, you'll see that there's this little node icon, this little arrow thing here. But sometimes what happens is you'll see something like this. You're busy working with it and there's a cross and you're like, okay, where do we reset this? And it's as simple as pressing the caps lock on your keyboard. What happens often if you're busy typing something and you put caps lock on and then you switch over to using the node tool, and then you see this setup, and it's like very frustrating grabbing like this because you're used to seeing the little node tool. And that's all got to do with a caps lock. Okay, so don't forget about that. That's just a little handy tip. Let's get into the essence of this tutorial. So the key that I want to do is create a circle to which these arrows are going to align themselves. So I'll go to the ellipse tool, and if you just start drawing with it, you can distort it. So the best way to keep the proportionality is to keep the shift button down. Okay, and if you want to keep it like moving it from the center out, you can put control and shift and it will move sort of different. So it's different constraints, but basically you want to keep the shift down so you can keep the circle being equal on all sides, and not sitting with a setup like this, unless you want to have it shaped specifically like this. But in this case, I'd rather want it as a circle like this. Okay, I press Control Z. So first steps first. I'm positioning this in the middle of this artboard, but you don't have to. You might be busy on a whole bigger design, and this particular thing is not in the center, so you can't really I'm not going to only just show you how to position it in the middle, but if you're just doing it like I'm doing it on this particular artboard, what you can do is you select this and you can go up to your align tools. And if you're not seeing these align tools, they will probably be tucked away in one of these menus. But in this case, I've got this here. I'll just go center align, and I'll go horizontal midline align. So I know it's totally in the middle. My next step that I do is I pull a guide from the rulers. Now this ruler might not be showing up here, these ruler marks here. If that's the case, and you press Control R, it will bring it and hide it away. I'm going to get Control R, you'll see it disappears. If I go Control R again, it will appear again. So that's how to get it there. What we're going to do is create a guideline in the middle of the circle, because the circle is the key element where the arrows are going to go around, but we need that middle area as a reference. Okay, so I go into the ruler, left mouse, keep it changes the icon, and I'll drag down, and you'll see that it will position itself in the middle. It snaps. Now if yours is not kind of snapping, you'll just go over to this tool where you can go set all your parameters with snapping. I'm going to do the same with the vertical here. Grab left mouse button, drag across, and you can see there it snaps to the middle. Now for me, the key is this middle of the circle, because that's going to be our reference around which we're going to rotate. Okay, and I'll show you a little later how we get to that. What I'm doing is I'm taking the reference of the circle, which is a perfect structure, and I am going to create the arrow on this line here. I'm going to start off with one arrow with the curvature, and I'm going to duplicate them around into the circle. So first of all, the example that I'm using in this case has got 2, 4, 5 arrows. If I broke this up into equal parts, it would have been 4 arrows, and I need more. So the arrow has to be a bit smaller. I think what I'm going to do in principle is just go in the section here. I'm going to make this almost like a third. So it's going to go a third, a third, a third. Okay. Actually, probably better just to do it halfway, because if I need to shorten it, I can. I can't lengthen it, but I can shorten it. I'll show you, just know what I mean by that. So I am going to go now, and I need to edit on this here. But at the moment, it is what I refer to as a parametric object. It's got these dots, and I needed to get it to be that I can use this node tool. So if I click on the node tool and I click here, I can't get the nodes. And the reason for that is that I must convert it to curves first. So that's, once I've selected this here, you'll see convert to curves. I click there. And now we have nodes. If I hover over here, you'll see I'm able to add nodes, etc. My goal here is to just keep this quarter area. I need to preserve that. And the arrow is going to start from this circle to maybe about just short of a half of it over there. And I'm putting a node there. I'm clicking there. Okay. Now I'm going to be deleting these stuff. But if I delete this here, it's going to distort this whole section over here. Okay, if I go here and let me press delete here, it's going to distort, and it's going to be difficult to build in there. And I go Control Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop a node. This from this base area up until here is going to be my arrow. So I'm going to just drop another little node in between. And that node is pretty much just to keep that arc, preserve the arc, because what I'm going to do is in this area, I am going to go and click, and I'm going to go to this area here, all these actions. Now again, somebody could do what I'm doing and put the nodes and create the arrows all along the way, but this is my methodology. I create one arrow and I replicate it along the circle edge. So I've come now to this node, I'm selecting it, and I go, if you hover here, it will say break the curve. What I'm doing is breaking the actual vector at this particular point. If I click there, it's broken there. So if I grab over here now, you can see this happening. And this is the point of why I put that node there. It's not interfering with this actual section here. If I didn't have that there, it would have started distorting here. Okay, so I want to go and clear off these here. A little neat way, if you can draw around it like this, but then you can only draw this and you've got to go there. A little neat way is if you press Alt and you're in the node tool, then you can draw a kind of a marquee all the way around these, and you can delete them. But I'm not wanting to delete this one over here. That one I need to preserve. So it's fine for me just to go from this point and delete those. Press delete. I didn't select this one, press delete. So now I've got, from this is going to be my base, and this is the curvature of the arrow. Okay, and I need to now remove these two. So if I remove these two, see what happens. I've got this curve here, which is perfectly aligned along the edge of this imaginary circle. At the moment, this crosshair point is the center of that circle. So how I'm going to move these around the circle is going to be crucial to use that crosshair, and I'll show how that comes into being. But let's first see how we get the actual arrow to appear, the structure to appear. So we want to increase the thickness. Okay, so there I've got the thickness there, and if you notice, the node is sort of lower down than the edge, and the reason for that is under your stroke, you see these three here. The one will take it right to the edge, the other one keeps it there, the other one makes it round. So you can experiment with that and see how that fits in with the thing you're doing. The other thing that I think is important is to choose scale with object, because if you start to resize some vector stuff and that is not checked, it's going to distort. If you make it small, the lines sometimes stay fat and then it distorts in the area. I've done another video on that. You can look on the channel and see how to deal with that. But just make sure you've got scale to object. And now, if you go further down here, it's showing start and end. It's saying the start and the end of this particular vector that you're using. You can alter the object at the end. If I click here, it's showing you a whole sequence of arrows, and there'll be circles and squares and everything. So if you go here and you go further down, there's a whole lot of different shapes and things that can appear. And you can see if I hover over here, even the affinity sign, all of these things are available. So in this case here, now I want to go to the start. If I do this, you've noticed that the start is going around anti-clockwise. Okay, so if that's the case, then you go to end and you go sort it out here. So in my case, I would think that this triangle is about the best one that I want to use. I will click that, and now we have a perfect arrow aligned upon the circle, the imaginary circle. So how do we get to create more of these arrows? We need 4 other arrows to fit in here. Again, I'm going to go to the move tool. If you're selecting here, you've got a lot of parameters that you can finally tweak stuff and so forth. This tutorial is not to go into too much depth. It's to show you the start to end of how to create the arrow shape, or any alternate shape that you can from the menu area, and then to replicate them into the circle, to duplicate something like we have here on the left. Okay, so we need to go and rotate this. So if I copy this, there's 2 ways that you can think of copying. I can go Control C and copy it and paste it in place, or I can do Control J. What Control J does, it duplicates it, but if the copy is moved in a certain position, if you use Control J again, it will make another copy, but also move it by that same proportion that you did before. So Control J is like a duplicate, but a few other parameters built in. Let me explain by visually doing it. First of all, when we want to create a copy of this arrow on the circle edge, we need to use this crosshair as our center point. Okay, remember that's what we did. This was the center point of the circle. So you select the arrow, and if you look on top here, there's a few icons here. This one here says Enable Transform Origin. It's saying, where does this, if you're going to move this object or rotate it, what is the center of this object? So if you click here, let's see if I'm clicking here, it says this is the center. So if I rotate now, this is what it's doing. Go Control Z. It's using this as the center. However, I want the center of this circle that we had originally to be the center, because I want to create more arrows on the outside. So I'll go there, I'll grab left mouse button, and I'll bring it there and let it snap to that perfect middle area. Okay, that's step 1. Next, I need to duplicate this, and I've explained the difference between Control C and Control V. I'm going to go Control J. If you look here in the layers, you'll see it Control J. It makes another copy of it. Okay, now that copy, the Control J is waiting for any other thing to happen. If I resize this, if I move it anywhere, those parameters are also remembered. So if I go Control J another time, it will remember those parameters and apply those parameters. So now I've done Control J. I'm going to grab the rotate tool and look at this. I'm moving it, and it's moving it around that axis. Now I've moved it from here to here. If I press Control J again, it's going to move this arrow. It's going to copy it and move it not approximately, about the same distance this one is from that one. So I go Control J, Control J, Control J, and yeah, I've got, I need 2, 4, 5. I've got enough of the arrows that I need in this example. Okay, again, I can separate them by typing in this navigation thing, but in my case, I want to be able to visually move them to kind of replicate the spaces I need here. Okay, but that in essence is how we create these shapes. So if I go here now and I grab the rotate, I can move this one there. I can go and do the same here, grab the rotate and move it here. So now I have the flexibility of moving these things around. If I needed to make this arrow shorter and all of the arrow shorter, it's doable in that I could create, select this, I choose the A on the keyboard, which is the node tool, and I could come here and just click and create a node here and come to this first node and delete it, and now I've created a small arrow that I can do exactly the same and replicate around. I'm going to go Control Z, okay, just get to original. But if I had to make this bigger, I wouldn't be able to get that perfect curve going. That's why I said if you're going to make these arrows and you're going to do what I'm doing here, rather make them slightly bigger than smaller, because bigger you can still trim it off and it will still keep the curvature going. Okay, so that's how we create these arrows. And I think it's worthwhile just mentioning that if I'm on this particular arrow here and I want to create a different structure on the other side, I can still come here and use this. If I had to create two arrows, one this way and one this way, and the arrows had to be the same size, what I could do is I'm going to come here, press A because I want to get to the vector tool, and here I can go and say my start is going to be, for example, that arrow. You see I've added start and finish this, and here you see a percentage. I can make the one arrow smaller than the other one, or I can click the locking aspect. If I click lock, it's going to make both of them same sizes as I go along. I'm just typing 100% here. If I don't have the lock there, I can choose one of them and they will increase independently. Okay, so you have that flexibility. There's other parameters here that you can operate with. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but make sure that you got scale with object checked here. If you don't have it checked, when you size it down, if you're creating a logo, sometimes when you make it small, the lines stay kind of thick and fat, and proportionately it distorts the whole image. So just make sure that that is checked. You can also do those settings up in the menus up here, but this is the place I usually use. And the other thing is, just by the way, this miter, when I'm using objects that are kind of sharp like this, I usually just go in there and type in 5. That's just my number that I've been using all the years. And it just keeps those things sharp. So when you zoom in, you don't have little unnecessarily rounded off areas. So I'm going to just go here and I'm going to just disable that. Okay, so that's how we create it. Hopefully this helps you and gets you to do some nice structures with arrows or whichever objects at the end. So have a great day. Be blessed and shalom.